If you need more support and connection, I invite you to check out faithfullygrowing.com/offerings. There you'll learn about the Faithfully Growing community and find one-on-one and group coaching offerings that may give you some of the support that you need. On another note, one of my primary values is to make IFS available to everyone. And so if you have the capacity to donate, you can make a tax-deductible donation at faithfullygrowing.com/donate. And every bit counts. Welcome to another episode of IFS Meditations and Insights, a podcast exploring personal growth through the lens of internal family systems. I'm Tim Fortescue, your guide on this journey, an IFS trained practitioner dedicated to nurturing spiritual wholeness and healing. In this compassionate space, we delve into self-discovery, uncovering inner wisdom. When we embrace all parts of ourselves with love, we can better receive divine love and extend it to others. My hope is that what I discuss here will illuminate your path, bringing you inner peace and a deeper connection to the sacred. Together, we'll learn how IFS gently transforms our relationship with ourselves and the world. So settle in, open up your heart and mind, and let's dive into another episode. Well, I hope you've had a good week and that you and your parts and your internal system are doing well. I tell you, I continue to be surprised at the growth of this podcast and the encouragement that I've received from the community and those that are finding it helpful. And so continue to reach out if you'd like to. And I'd love to meet some of you, whether you're an IFS practitioner or just someone who is on your parts work journey. Would love to connect. I do a weekly live where you can comment in the chat and engage with me on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. here in the Midwest. And so 10 a.m. Eastern in the US, and you can go from there. But would love to have you join me and chime in at that live on YouTube. You can access that at faithfullygrowing.com and then either do /live or hit the live button on the menu there. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the idea of unattached burdens in IFS. And if IFS is new to you, head over to my website and click on how I work. And I have a 3-minute, actually it's less than 3-minute video that hopefully puts it in a nutshell. But always reach out. Let me know if you have questions. Send me an email, tim@faithfullygrowing.com. But you can find out more there. But Bob Falconer, talks about diving into deep mental states in his book, The Others Within Us. And he looks at unattached burdens and guides, which are newer, some would even say new ideas that therapists and practitioners are starting to pay attention to. And if I'm honest, I'm still learning a lot, and there are parts of me that are curious and parts of me that may still be a little resistant. So accept those parts of you that you're noticing and let those parts have a voice if they have some questions or if they're excited. But Falconer discusses how different sides of our personality affect what we think, do, and how we connect with others. And he uses ideas from psychology, philosophy, and his own stories from his experience. If you're curious to learn more about unattached burdens, I'd direct you to Falconer's book, The Others Within Us. But today, let's get curious a bit together on this topic. And as those of you who have been around this podcast for a bit know, and IFS burdens are the emotional and psychological weights that parts carry. And they can stem from past experiences, traumas, or inherited patterns. Often these burdens become attached to specific parts, shaping their behavior and influencing our overall well-being in our internal system. However, there are instances where burdens exist in our internal system without being firmly attached to any specific part. And these unattached burdens can manifest as vague feelings of unease, unresolved emotions, or persistent thoughts that seem to linger without a clear origin. And I know I put out a clip on YouTube this week of me talking just a bit about this. And from time to time, often it's very constructive comments, but from time to time I get folks who say things like this person did. Oh, this psychoanalytic, quasi-psychoanalytic mumbo jumbo. And I tell you, when I get comments like that, it gives me an opportunity to check in with my parts because they're triggered. But it's challenging stuff and it's different ways of thinking. So like I said before, and I'll have my parts soften back that keep wanting to make the point that this is different, that they're valid. And maybe you're thinking some comments like this person on my YouTube channel did. And that's okay too, because we need to address those fears and concerns of those protective parts inside of us. So what exactly are unattached burdens and how do they impact our internal landscape? And to explore this further, let's take a closer look at the dynamics within our internal family. As we've done before, it may be helpful to imagine your internal system as a bustling community, with each part representing a distinct member of your family or of the community. And now picture those unattached burdens as lost baggage, wandering through the streets of this community, seeking a home among the various parts. And these unattached burdens may stem from past traumas or unresolved emotions that haven't been fully processed. Without a designated part to carry them, they roam freely with our internal system and they influence the behaviors and emotions of other parts. For example, you may find yourself experiencing bouts of anxiety without a clear trigger or feeling unwarranted anger towards loved ones. These emotions could be signals of unattached burdens seeking resolution within your internal family. So, how do we address these unattached burdens and bring about healing within our internal system? Well, internal family systems offers a framework for identifying and allowing these burdens, just like those attached to parts, to unburden. And what is different with unattached burdens, because I've had some people say, how do I know if it's an unattached burden? Or how is this different from a burden that's attached to one of my younger parts? And my answer to that, and in my own work, is to say, first of all, a burden, whether it's attached or not, is a burden. And it may be who we think we are, but it doesn't help balance our system. And we want to be careful and delicate with these burdens that are attached with parts to make sure, we're not shaming the part, we're not calling the part bad, but the burden is simply that, a burden that doesn't belong and can be unburdened. And what I have found is with these unattached burdens, first of all, is they don't belong in the city or community and in our internal system. And if we specifically know that they're not attached to a part, sometimes we have to be a little more forceful with them. And so, but I've found, because I've experienced this in my own personal work with a practitioner, that if we stay curious trust the process, it generally becomes clear if a burden is unattached, and we can help it usher out of our system so that we can continue to heal and to be whole. And by cultivating self-awareness and fostering a compassionate relationship with our internal parts, we can create a safe space to identify and interact with unattached burdens and ask, or maybe even sometimes tell them to leave our system. And as we journey through the landscape of our psyche, it's essential to remember that healing is a gradual process. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this today, but I've also found that there are guides on our journey. And for me, it's usually something to the attune of my Christ consciousness from a Christian background. I'm not saying that has to be the same for you, but there are also guides that may not be attached to a specific part, like Holy Spirit or something like that I have found that can help me lead to healing too. They do belong within my system. They may not be attached to a part, but they lead me to healing and to light that I may not have normally found on my own. So keep that in mind too when you're looking inside, and stay curious and on the lookout for unattached burdens, but also those guides that are for our greater good. And I know that's kind of a short episode again, as I normally try to keep them, but full. And I hope that it's been helpful for you to get curious about the potential of unattached burdens in your system. Continue to be gentle with yourself, and know that healing takes time and patience, and often when we move slower, as ironic as it sounds, and have that patience and grace, we can move faster when it's appropriate and when we need to, but we can't push the process. So again, so grateful for this community and how it's growing. And thank you for joining me on this exploration of unattached burdens within internal family systems. And I do appreciate your trust on this journey as we grow and go together. Remember, again, that the path to healing begins with acknowledging and embracing all parts of ourselves. Well, that wraps up another episode of IFS Meditations and Insights. I hope you found today's episode helpful. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd share it with anyone else who you think might benefit. Additionally, please leave a positive review. This helps new listeners find the podcast. And if you want more wisdom and meditations, head to my website, blog.faithfullygrowing.com. There you can find a categorized list of IFS meditations and insights, and it's completely free. Finally, I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback of the podcast. Feel free to reach out anytime by emailing me at tim@faithfullygrowing.com. But thanks again for listening and for your courage and being part of this community. And remember to approach yourself and others with compassion. We're all doing the best we can with the tools we have. I look forward to our next time together. And until then, take good care of yourself. Stay curious if you can. And try to welcome all the parts that you encounter on your journey.